Hey everyone, Cody Bjugan here from VestRight, and today we're going to talk about what are entitlements. You always hear this word entitlements. What does that even mean related to raw land and the development space in real estate? And I'm here today with Lisa from VestRight. Lisa, say hi to everyone.
Hey, everyone.
So what are entitlements? It's actually pretty simple, and I know it's a word that can mean a lot of different things. Entitlements is when you take a piece of raw land, okay, and you turn it in to an approved development. And that could really be a development in any asset class. It could be single family residential, multifamily residential. It could be storage. It could be office. It could be retail. It could be storage facility, whatever. That entitlement process is basically taking a raw piece of land and turning it into an approved development. It's that governmental approval process. You have to go through a process with the government for them to approve whatever it is you're wanting to do with that land. And so some other people call it the land use process. Land use is a part of entitlements. Construction drawings, right? Getting the construction drawings approved. That's actually a part of entitlements. Entitlements is a broad word to basically get that development approved, get it to a place where it's actually shovel ready. And there's a ton of value in that process because, quite frankly, very few people understand it. Is that you're involving civil engineers, you're involving geotech engineers, you're involving traffic engineers, you're doing all these different studies, you're putting together an application for your development, you're turning that into the jurisdiction, into the government, to then go through a process with them to get that development approved. That is what entitlements are as far as my space. Does that make sense? Lisa, is there something I missed there? Anything you want me, any additional questions on that topic?
Yeah, so it seems like there's a lot that goes into it. So let's break down the process a little bit. What are the different types of entitlements?
Entitlements is just the overall process, what it's referred to. And you missed, I use the word a lot, or I think you said the word a lot. And you're right, there is a lot to it. And some of our students, our graduates, the feedback we've gotten from them is that, yeah, it's a lot, but it's two things. One, it's much simpler than they thought it was going to be. And I think the reason it's so much simpler than they thought it was going to be, because your consultants, your engineers, do majority of the work. You're more just overseeing, right? You're more writing the checks, we'll call it, which isn't an overly expensive process, quite frankly, relative to the actual development space of real estate. But you're more just, I wouldn't even call you an overseer, really, because a good full service engineer does all the project management. But there is a lot to it. But it's once you get into it, it's actually not overwhelming, in my opinion, at all, because you don't need to understand every single element of it. If I'm to be vulnerable for a second, if you were to come to me and talk to me about the different types of pipe for development, right? Like you put in your trenches and the different thicknesses and the different types of pipe and the different materials, like the things that these civil engineers understand or your contractors understand. Can I just tell you right now, I don't know those things. And I've been doing this for 20 years and I don't know those things. You know why? Because I don't need to. Okay. That's not what I do and what I teach. And so even though I'm considered an entitlement expert, that doesn't mean I need to understand all those fine details. So, but you said to break down the steps. I would just say that one, you go find a piece of raw land that has development potential. Okay. And usually what we do is it's off market. So we go connect with the property owner and we get them to a point that they see the advantages and the benefits for their family legacy to be open to selling, get them under contract. And then we go into a due diligence process, which is usually 90 to 120 days, where we engage our civil engineer, we engage the jurisdiction, the government, and we start working through the details of developing this property and what that would look like. And then we do cost estimating and this, that, and the other, which, by the way, our engineer does. We don't do. And at the end of our due diligence, we know what we have or what we think we have. And then we have to make a decision. Do we want to move forward or do we not? And if we decide to move forward, then we put together what's called our land use application, where we go do different studies. We bring a bunch of detail to the project, much more than what we did in due diligence. And we put together what's called a land use application, and we submit to the jurisdiction. And then we go through what's the approval process of getting that application approved or getting the development approved. And at that point, you have what's considered like a preliminary approval or a land use approval. And a lot of times that's usually where we exit the deal. But then also, since you brought up the word entitlements, another part of entitlements is once you get the preliminary approval, is also get your construction drawing approval. This is the detailed construction plans that all the contractors will actually work off of. And you go through a process of getting that approved with the city's engineer, right? Redlining back and forth. You get your construction drawings approved. And now you have what's called a shovel-ready project. And that's where you're actually going to break ground and you're going to start doing construction. So, that's a very high level, but those are the basic steps of entitlements.
Right, right. Assuming like everything goes smoothly and you can get it shovel ready, but what are the common issues that usually come up during the process?
There's every project is unique. No two projects are the same. So, I got to be careful to speak in generalities because no two projects are the same. But usually the common things that come up are the things that we should be figuring out potentially before we even put the property under contract, right? Is that, are there even utilities at the property, right? Is there public sewer? Is there public water? And so on and so forth. Is there even a public right-of-way to the property? Is there a way for the public to get to the property, right? Access. It's those 5 things I talk about, right? It's zoning. Is it zoned, or can you get it rezoned for development? Is there public utilities? Is there public access? What's the topography like? And what are the overlays on the property? So that's why I hammer those 5 points all the time, because I would say those are the most common things. But those are all things I can figure out before I ever even put the property under contract. And but let me just add one thing that comes up all the time. Is it okay? You check the box. There's public utilities. But always make sure you're checking with the jurisdiction. Is it okay? There might be sanitary sewer. But is there capacity? A lot of times people run into capacity issues where there's not enough capacity with the sanitary sewer to actually serve the site. So if I was to bring up one common challenge that comes up probably more often than not, or no, more often than anything else, not more often than not, that's not the right way to say it, is does the sanitary sewer have capacity to serve your project?
I didn't even think about that. That's that's a great little nugget right there.
There you go.
Okay, what else do I have for you? So what you just said is very high level. And if people want to learn more, where can they do that?
All right, so hopefully you found that valuable. You know a bit more about what entitlements actually means. You hear that word thrown around. What does that mean in the real estate development space? You want to learn more about my model and what I do? Do me a favor. Click the link in the description. I created an absolutely free, no strings attached. Let me say that again, no strings attached, free playbook where you can learn a ton more about my space. I'm not in the business of making guarantees. I can't, but I would be amazed after you going through that free playbook that you haven't learned a ton more about my business model and about just real estate development in general. So with that said, also, okay, I would be amazed if you didn't learn more about entitlements. Let's be real. You probably learned something. So will you do me a favor? Let's spread the word. Let's allow other people to learn more about my space that I specialize in, that I've spent 20 years of my career in, right? I have this specialty experience. I have my personal slogan, PIF, Purpose, Impact, Fulfillment. I'm trying to make a difference. I am making a difference. And through making a difference, it's bringing me a tremendous amount of fulfillment. Do me a favor. Like the video, right? Let me know that you found value in it. Share my channel, share my video. And lastly, subscribe to my video, because I got a bunch more coming, a bunch more free content that I want you to engage in and be a part of. Allow us to get it out there. Allow us to teach our space. With that said, take care. I appreciate you very much.